You guessed it, problem-solving strategies are up next. So when given a real-life problem, it's helpful to write a verbal model. A verbal model is basically writing an equation in words. We can also use other strategies like using a formula, looking for pattern, and drawing a diagram. And for me, drawing a diagram tends to be the most helpful, especially if you're very visual. I'd like to remind you that the formulas were on page 26, again if you need to reference your formulas, and we're going to practice one of each of these today. Okay, so we have Bart traveling 457 miles between Phoenix and El Paso, and we know the trip takes 6.5 hours, and we want to find out what his average speed is. So if we think back to our formulas, let's use distance equals rate times time. So we know that the distance we said was 457. We don't know the rate. The average speed would be the rate. And 6.5 is the time. And we normally would write the coefficient, right, the number in front of the variable. So I'll just reorder that. Now we're going to isolate R. So we're going to use our inverse property of multiplication as division and divide both sides by 6.5. And we end up getting R is approximately equal to 70.3 miles per hour. And remember again your units of measure. And also, because I rounded, we used the approximately equal to symbol. A second strategy we'll take a look at is pattern. And paramotoring sounds a little bit crazy. You have this propeller and you have kind of like a parachute. But anyway, we created a table here. So we have our time listed and we have the height. And so we're looking for pattern. So if we say between 2000 and 1750, that's a difference of 250. And then 1750 to 1500 is also 250. Again, difference of 250, and 1250 to 1000 is 250. So that's our pattern. Now we're going to write an equation, or we could write a verbal model first. So if we take his initial height, which is 2000, and subtract the 250, that's how much he's descending each minute, we can calculate where he'll end up in 7 minutes. So now we'll change our verbal model into an equation and solve it. Okay, so we have height equals 2000 minus 250, and for time it said 7 minutes. So we're going to subtract 250 times 7, which is 1750. So running out of space, h equals 250 feet. So this problem gave us a lot of information, and we just needed to predict where he would end up 3 minutes after the most time we had of 4 minutes. All right, we have one more example to do. Okay, our third example is going to be drawing a diagram. I'll say draw a picture. Sounds more fun. Okay, so Brophy's hanging swim, football, golf, and soccer championship banners on the gym wall. We can see that the banners are 8 feet wide. The wall is 62 feet long, and it says there should be an equal amount of space between the ends of the wall and the banners. That's important. And between each pair of banners. Okay, how far apart should the banners be? So I started off by envisioning the wall I drew that. So now we're going to just place our 4 banners. I'll try to make them equally, well, a little bit off. And it said that our banners were 8 feet. I'll just put 8 after I label the first one. And then it said the entire wall was 62 feet long. And the last bit, it talks about equal amount of space, but they give us no number value. So we're going to call those spaces X. And once we have all our pieces, we're just going to write our equation. So we know it's going to equal 62. We have that. And then we're going to look, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 X's. And we have 4 banners that are each 8 feet wide. We will multiply. 4 times 8 is 32. Use our inverse operations and subtract 32 from both sides. So 5x equals 30, and then inverse of multiplication is division. So we divide both sides by 5. So x equals 6 feet. And again, notice we have our units of measure. So those were our 3 ways we can tackle a story problem. We're going to use a formula, look for a pattern, and draw a diagram.